I'm out in my Suburban again to fix something, I hope. This is a 2011 Suburban, and I've been having trouble with my display on my radio for several years, and I've just been ignoring it, hoping it would go away, or eventually I thought I might replace the whole head unit, but I've decided I don't really want to spend the money on it. I'm going to try a fix that I saw someone else do, and we're going to see if it works on mine. But let me show you what it's doing. Alright, ignore what you see on the screen with it doing this flicker, and that's strictly because it's video and it just what it does. Anyway, but you see there's only half a screen here. Only half of this is showing. I can tap it and sometimes get it up to show up. Again, like I said, ignore that because that's just due to the video. It changes. Sometimes it won't even give all of this. It's just like it does this kind of mess, and sometimes I can tap and tap and I never can get it back to where I can change things, and it makes it frustrating because, like, if I want to see these things here, now I can't tell, I can't make adjustments because I can't tell where it is, and that's not good if I'm driving. And I think I had messed this up the other day. I'm driving and trying to fool with this thing and it won't. Anyway, it's been doing this for several years. It's just gotten a little bit worse. So I'm going to try to fix this. Okay, first what I have to do is take this out. And to do so, we're going to have to pry off the plastic that's around this. And you have to do this very carefully because you can crack it. Now I'm using a flathead screwdriver, as thin as one as I have. I probably have a smaller one, but I don't know where it is right now, so I'm trying to use the smallest one possible. And I think there's like 3 clips here, 3 clips here, and maybe one down here. I probably need a second screwdriver. I'm glad it's end of the summer. It's still warm out, so that this is less likely to crack. So like if you're doing this in the winter time and it's pretty cold out, I would suggest heating up the vehicle prior to attempting this because the plastic will crack more easily when it's cold. If I can get one to pop loose. Whoop. Yeah, get one started, then I can work my way around. That makes it so much easier. This right here has been broken for a long time. Actually, I keep a charger in it, but I thought for the video it would look better if I had this on here, and it's it's not gonna stay. Oh, mercy. Okay. Alright. And you can take a look at the back and see what it is what you're working with. There's 4 on each side. And then 1 at the bottom. That one's about to come off. Alright. We'll put that out of the way. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to have to take each one of these things undone just to get this one out because they overlap right here. I don't know why they do it that way. So we're gonna see what size socket we need. Looks like it is going to be a 7mm. I'm going to throw all these screws into the cup holder so I don't lose them. So each one of these has to come down, and I'm just going to leave them attached and just drop them down below. So we will unplug the antenna. It just pulls straight out. I don't know if you can see all this or not. I'm trying to get it where you can see it without moving the camera. There are clips on each one. Let's see. This mess right here, this is not anything that you should have in yours. This is, I have a subwoofer added on to this, and that is how it is attached right here. So yours won't have that, unless you've added the subwoofer the same way I did. Alright, get the rest of these undone. Woo! Alright, we got all that undone. We're fixing to take this in the house and fix it, I hope. First thing we're going to do to tear into this thing is to pry up these tabs here on the top and the bottom to take this front away from the unit. And I'm just going to do that using a flathead screwdriver to very carefully lift up without breaking it. And I'm going to try to put some pressure on that to pull it away and make it stay away so it doesn't keep snapping back on itself, which it will do. Now I'm starting on the bottom because I found that these tabs are a little bit easier to get to stay raised. I tried it on the top while ago and I was having a hard time. So lift up on the tab. I need about 4 arms, 4 hands, and push the front away just to keep those up there. There. Now we'll flip it over and do the top. Again, I'm trying not to break the tabs off, because otherwise I'll be gluing this thing back together. And I don't really want to go the glue route. Whew. Okay. That's a scary part as well. Alright, we're going to set the rest of this aside, but if you want to just look down inside of one, just see what it looks like. This is the where the CD goes. Yes, this does still have CD. And I still use CDs from time to time, not often. Okay, next we need to separate this from the front controls. And to do so, they've got tabs again, here, here, there, and there. So very carefully pry those up without breaking them. Alright, just as I was thinking, I think a few of these screws are going to have to come out for this to completely come undone. So I've got those 2 undone. I'm going to try to take, I know these 2 screws looks like that's attached to, no, that's attached to something else. It's kind of hard to tell which screws hold this on and which screws go to something below. Let's see if I can do my best to determine which screws are actually holding this. I think this is going to be one. I don't have the right size. I don't have a small enough bit to fit this. Don't even know what size that is, but none of mine are big or small enough. So I'm going to use these little needle nose pliers to hopefully loosen this up. Okay, after much frustration, not having the correct size socket or hex head screwdriver, it took me a long time. So I highly, highly recommend, before you even attempt this, to buy a small set of smaller than, what is that, this is 5mm. It's smaller than 5mm. That's the smallest I had. Buy a set of smaller than 5mm hex head drivers, because trying to take these out with needle nose pliers, it took a while, and one of them kept getting hung up. It just wasn't wanting to come out. But anyway, the ones to be able to take this off, the ones that you need to remove, you don't have to remove everything that you see, but it'll be this one, this one, this one, this one, and then that one there. This one that's down in there isn't attached to the plastic here. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then undo the tabs, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, and this should lift off. Now, or in the past when I had to take this undone, I don't remember having that much trouble, but I might have borrowed somebody's driver. I just don't remember, honestly. But the last time I was in here, what I was fixing was the, let me see if I can do this without losing those things. I was fixing this right here, the jack. This is where I do my Bluetooth, because this unit is, it's just a basic model, doesn't have Bluetooth capabilities. But I plug in a Bluetooth receiver there, and it had broken, and I came over here and had to resolder that. Now, the part that I'm having trouble with is going to be one of these solders down here. I believe that's what some other people were saying. And some people took this out and resoldered every one of these. Now, I am not planning on doing that. I am going to, if I can get this thing out of here, out of the plastic, then I'm going to get a magnifying glass with a good light and see if I can see any cracks in any of these solders here, to see if I can fix that. So I'm going to real quick make a picture of the way this plastic is sitting in here, and I think I'm going to have to undo these screws to not only take this plastic out, but to be able to lift this out of this part here, and I'm going to have to remove that screw. So real quick, I'm going to make a picture. Just for reference. I find that is always a good idea. Alright, so for this plastic piece to come out, that screw has to come off. For this one to come out, this screw has to come out, and that. So I'm going to try to get that done, hopefully fairly simply. Pay attention to the fact that the screw that I just pulled out of here, this plastic piece, is shorter than the other ones that I removed to remove this the first plastic. So remember that. I'm going to put these back here. And I'm going to try to set these off to the side in the same position that they. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that screw in there. That's where I took that from, to remind me which one it goes in, because it doesn't go in that one there, because one of the longer screws goes there. So I'm going to do that to try to help me remember. And I'm going to leave that screw in that plastic and set it to the side, because it also is shorter. There we go, and I can tell it is loose. We'll put that back in there and set that to the side. I heard something fall. Let me see. It's just the keys on the back side. All right, I'm going to set the face off to the side. And here is what it looks like. Now, like I said, I'm going, oh, look, you have to be careful when you put this thing back that this is lined up properly. Alright, I'm going to get a magnifier and a stronger light and try to find where the break is in one of these here. And I'll bring you back when I discover it. Okay, I went through each one of these. I've got on some readers, basically some heavy magnified readers, an extra headlamp. And what I found was, I obviously cannot see a crack in any of this. It would take a heavier magnification lens to see that. But what I did was I started from one end and just started pressing with this is just a bit, a flathead bit, pressing each one of these to see if it moved, to see if it wiggled at all. And all of these were very solid. All the way down, I did it pushing this way and I did it pushing this way. Now don't push too hard, but just enough to see if anything wiggled. And I got down here, you see this mark right here? I will show you the difference. So you push on that and it does not move. I hope you can see this in the camera, because It's probably going to be hard for you to see it. All right, here's another angle. I don't think that you could see that from the GoPro, but I'm gonna do this again and show you how this one moves. All right, so you see how this one does not move when I press on it, but that one does. There is no give on these others at all, but that one wiggles just a little bit. You may can see it better if I do it from this side. All right, so you see this is very sturdy, does not move, and that one flexes just a tiny bit. It's just like a tooth starting to get loose, just enough. And the rest of these are very firm. Hope that helps. All right, let's get the stuff and get it fixed. All right, I am going to attempt to solder this just by remelting the solder that's already there, because I don't do a whole lot of soldering, and anything that I have done really looks like crud. Like you can see this where I repaired the that auxiliary jack. It looks really crappy, but like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of this, so I don't know a whole lot about it. I know this thing heats up. I know it. You have to have. I've got some of the wire that you use to put on his, but I think to do that I would have to take off the old solder to put new solder there. I don't have the whatever that is, that mesh stuff that take it off with. So I'm hoping to be able to just touch this and melt it enough that it would go back together. That's my plan. You know, here, let me get me a little more light there. That's my plan. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, I saw it melt, but I don't know if it did any good or not. Just don't know enough about soldering. It's probably something I need to learn. All right, well, I saw that melt really good there. I think I'm gonna heat that. Probably doesn't work that way. There. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go with that. Let that cool for a little bit, and then I'm gonna test it to see if it made it stop wiggling. That's my hopeful plan. Hope and pray that's gonna work. All right, let's see if I did any good. All right, that is not wiggling anymore. Awesome. All right, let's put this thing back together. Let me see how this thing fits. I know it's not supposed to be like that because of the CD goes in there. I know that won't go that way. See, those two pieces are going to need to stay together. And I can see that this slot right here, all this has to line up with that and with that little guide right there. So that's how it needs to be. Just like that. Now I'm not going to set this down on the counter because when I do, the knob pushes back and it pushes this back out. So I am going to put this one in place. I'm going to go ahead and get the other 2 plastic pieces in here. These plastic pieces, in case you were wondering, this is how it, things light up. This distributes the light into each one. Like these are the buttons, just in case you were wondering. Alright, I'm going to get all these screws secured and I'll bring you back for the next thing. Just a reminder, don't over tighten these screws. This does hold the plastic to this, and this also to this other piece of plastic, but you don't want to over tighten and crack this board, because then you have more issues. Alright, and do remember those were the short screws. Go ahead and put this down. Snap that into place into all the tabs. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll put all these screws in. I got all these screws back in. None left over, which is awesome. So now we just got to put this back onto here. Now when you look at this unit, and you may go, uh-oh, what's top, what's bottom? Top is going to have the sticker on it. Also, if you're not absolutely sure, you'll make sure that you line up this with that right there. Those two have to snap together. Snap together. So we're going to just get all the tabs lined up. There we go. We're all back together. Now, let's go outside, plug this up, and see if I actually fixed anything. Let's go. All right, I'm going to reverse the process. Got to plug everything back up. And don't worry, you can't plug them up in the wrong spot. They only fit in one spot. Each one pairs up uniquely. Alright. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple screws in just to hold it in place. And then I'm going to turn it on and just see if I actually did any good. One should be enough. Let's see. Do that. Well, that's working. Oh, let's see. My problem was, as I was rattling down the road, that was messing up. Look at that. Time will tell, but I'm thinking already this is fixed. Oh my goodness, this is so awesome. I should have done this years ago. I just was not sure what was going on, and the other day I just happened to thought I would look it up and see. I was going to replace this unit is what I was planning on doing. I have another head unit that's I was going to have to require, is going to require some, me ordering a harness to make this retro to fit this, plus I was going to have to order a filler for this, and I thought, yeah, I don't want to do that. So I decided just to look it up and see if I could find out if there was a fix, and apparently there is. That's awesome. Now, again, like I said, due to the being on video, it does the flicker because of the type of thing it is, but I'm going to insert a video from the phone showing it is good. There it is. I have fixed it. Yay! Like I said, I wish I'd done that years ago. Woo! I'm just going to go ahead and finish installing the radio, getting it back together. Like I said, time will tell for sure whether this is fixed or not, but usually just any tapping on it would send it into a frenzy, and it's not doing that, so I am very tickled about that. So we'll reverse the process by, let me just turn that off, putting in 4 screws to hold this radio unit in. One thing I do need to check before I go too much farther is to make sure I got my antenna connection, and obviously the connection to the USB is working, because that's what I was just playing from. But I need to make sure that my antenna is properly plugged in. I don't get a whole lot of stations where I am, but I do. I get 99. Alright, so the antenna is plugged properly. Tell you what, I know people look at this kind of thing and this kind of thing scares them. But, you know, when you get into fixing your own things, you can save so much money by doing so. Because if I had taken this into the dealer to fix, well, for starters, they probably wouldn't have fixed it. What they would have done is made me buy a whole new head unit, which would have been several $100s plus installation. It would have cost a lot. And if I had taken it somewhere that did do soldering, and you know, it would have been several $100, I would think, for that as well. So I have just saved myself some money, and also it is satisfying that I fixed this myself. You know, we live in a world where people want to just pay somebody else to do everything, but that's just not where we came from. We need to get back to doing our own stuff. You know, and if it is something that's too hard, like say I couldn't put a transmission in this thing, you know, there are times when that is necessary, but, you know, get in with a group of people that maybe a bunch of, you know, folks can share their resources. You know, maybe one person is a mechanic and another is a gardener, and get in friends with them and just make, you know, you can make trades, at least partial trades on some things. Yay. Still working. That's exciting. I'm really tickled about that. Anybody like bluegrass? I like this one. All right, well, with that, I appreciate y'all joining along. I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please give the video a like, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll see you later. Y'all take care.